Have you ever had that moment? You thought your pantry was full, but you're missing that one critical ingredient to finish up dinner or dessert, but
never fear, Jill Garcia Schmidt from the Culinary Center of Kansas City has you covered.
walk us through some good substitutes in the kitchen we should know about when we're getting ready to prepare that holiday meal.
All right, well, most of the substitutions that you can make will normally be right in your pantry or your kitchen already.
Perfect.
So hopefully you've got some of the essentials that we'll talk about in a little bit.
Okay.
But some of the quick things that you can do to substitute, to save the day, if you will, is like, let's say your turkey's really dry, okay, and you're like, oh, what do I do? That's where stock in a box comes in, okay? Stock in a box is great for making gravy. It can help to bring moisture back to your turkey. You can use it with mashed potatoes. You can use it with any of the vegetables, your stuffing, whatever.
And is it important to make sure it's chicken stock, not chicken broth?
You can do either. The broth is made with meat, the stock is made with bones, so the stock has a little bit more flavor in it. But you can totally substitute wine of any kind for stock or vice versa.
Okay.
So like if you're making a dish and you're serving kids and you don't necessarily want the alcohol in it, you can totally do it. Even Steven swap. Coconut water is great for things. Any kind of juices that you might have on hand. Even soda can work in the right situation. Absolutely. Any kind of liquor, you just want to make sure that if you're going to be adding liquor that is flammable, you do it off the heat.
Oh yeah.
But you can totally do that.
That's why you're the pro. Let's do some Absolute or something. It just goes crazy.
Well, it makes for a great show, but it does tend to lessen your eyebrows. Another easy thing to do is have some sour cream on hand.
Oh, yes.
It can be used in place of yogurt. It could be used in place of some other dairy products.
Okay.
And it works really well to hold some items together in other ingredients. So
like kind of eggs or something like that?
You could use it in a cheese ball. You could use it in a dressing. You can use it in all different kinds of ways. And it will also add moisture. So like you could use mayonnaise, sour cream, yogurt as a marinade for your meat as well. And it kind of helps to brine it, because the acid in it will help to break down the tougher tissue in it.
Okay.
Then we have all kinds of herbs. So let's say you forgot to pick up that fresh basil, right?
Yeah.
Smell.
Oh,
smells so good. But if you forget to buy fresh basil, it's not that big of a deal. You can just use dried basil.
Okay.
Just remember that you always want to make sure that you use less dried than fresh, because the dried herbs are a lot more potent. They have a lot more flavor to them, and a little goes a long way.
And still, we have more subs coming up, like, heaven forbid, you run out of butter. It's coming up. Butter and buttermilk, you can't just leave them out of the recipe, right? So what do you do if you find yourself without one or the other in the middle of a recipe? Well, Jill Garcia Schmidt from the Culinary Center of Kansas City has some swap outs.
Another one is butter.
Butter.
I mean, life without butter,
I don't want to think about it.
But there are some people who either can't have it or they've used it all or whatever. And so in that case, there's a lot of things that you can do. Coconut oil is huge these days, and it actually comes in a solid form so that you can use it just like butter. It also is meltable, obviously, just like butter, so you can use it in its liquid form. Olive oil is a great thing to have on hand, but if you run out of butter or vice versa, you run out of olive oil, you can use, here's the thing you need to know about butter. It burns, right? So if you're gonna use butter instead of an oil, make sure you partner it with it. Partner with some oil. And I always like to put the oil in the pan first and add the butter to that so that the butter does not burn.
Okay.
All right, cornstarch and flour.
Versus flour.
You can even Steven swap these in a situation when it's talking like gravy or another kind of sauce. If it's a baking situation and the recipe calls for cornstarch, then you can certainly use the all-purpose flour, but you're gonna lessen the amount that you use. And you can actually lighten it up too with a little bit of baking soda, all right, and that'll lighten it up. Your flour at home, for the most part, if you're doing any kind of frying, like batter frying or that kind of thing, you can use pretty much any dry ingredient you have at home. Potato chips, tortillas, crushed up dried tortillas, croutons, day-old bread, whatever you have.
Just crunch them up and there you go.
And if you're out of flour, then use those instead.
Okay.
But cornstarch is a great option to use for gluten-free people.
Yes, beautiful.
So if you need to make a gravy that will feed everyone, you can use cornstarch instead. Yep.
Okay.
And also potato starch, rice flour, any of those things are completely substitutable.
Just fine.
Yep.
Okay. Now one more you have over here. Some
the
buttermilk
only
and
other
some
one I
cream.
want to talk about is buttermilk, because a lot of times you'll have a recipe that'll call for just a very small amount of buttermilk and you're stuck with this giant thing, so you don't buy it.
Yeah.
Buttermilk is so easy to make.
Oh,
okay.
Okay.
1 cup of whole milk. All right. It works best with whole milk, just so you know. 1 cup of whole milk, and then 1 tablespoon of acid vinegar. So you can either use white wine vinegar, white vinegar, lemon juice, lime juice, whatever you have that is acidic. All right, you're gonna add that, and what it does is it curdles it and it turns it to buttermilk.
Really?
Yeah, so you just leave it sit there for about 10 minutes or so, and then give it a stir, and you can use it in replacement of buttermilk anytime.
All right, now you know how to sub out ingredients for some you may not have on hand, but what if you need an appetizer to wow and you need it now? Well, Jill has one of those for us in the next half hour. Belinda, I know this has never happened to you, but I'm going to ask anyway. Have you ever been stuck last minute trying to think of a dish to bring to a party?
Well, Bill, now that you bring that up, 7 out of 10 times probably.
Okay, well, pay attention to this, and you're never going to have to find yourself feeling that way ever again. Jill, I need to have a really fancy dish made up in the next 5 minutes.
Oh, I got you covered so hard, bro.
Oh, thank you.
So hard. All right, so green beans.
Green beans.
Okay.
Easy.
Yep, lightly steamed or in your microwave if you buy them in the steamable bag, whatever.
Okay.
I'm not going to judge you because I won't be standing there.
Perfect.
So you have them steamed.
Okay.
You have some par-cooked bacon.
Okay,
all
some
right?
what cooked bacon?
Par-cooked, meaning
Par-cooked.
it's cooked but it's still flexible.
Oh, okay.
All right, because if we stuck this in the oven raw, it would burn the green beans by the time that they were done.
By the time it cooked.
So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna have you take a bundle of beans, right? So they're lightly steamed, like I said, and then you just kind of put them in a little bundle, right?
Bundle of green
Yep.
beans.
And then you take your bacon, help yourself to some bacon,
Okay.
and you wrap it around, and then you put them on your sheet tray, okay? You can secure them with a toothpick or whatever if you want to. I certainly wouldn't begrudge you that because it'll definitely stay together easier for you. And for those of you who are not used to working with bacon, perfect! Look how good you did. No, it's perfect, it's perfect. Then, yeah, a toothpick would work great.
Okay.
So now once you get those all bundled, they're gonna go back into the oven for about, 5 minutes or so.
Just to finish off the bacon?
Yep, you're gonna finish off the bacon, get it nice and crisp, and you're gonna finish off those green beans to get them kind of roasted as well.
Yeah.
And then when they come out of the oven, they will be this beautiful gloriousness. And I have a really lovely light glaze that is just simple with a little bit of minced onion, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of white wine vinegar, and of course butter.
Some butter in there, okay.
And you can smell how fragrant it is.
Yeah.
And so I'm just gonna combine it a little bit, and then you just drizzle it over the top. And you're gonna have this sweet and savory, and of course a little bit of saltiness from that bacon, but it's very impressive to look at.
Oh, yeah.
Because it looks like you took a lot of time to do it, but it literally takes 5 minutes. And if you get the microwavable, steamable bag.
Oh, they just pop it in super fast.
Super fast. And those are always in your freezer. If you don't have green beans, you could also use asparagus spears.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay. Or if you want to get real crazy and you have some corn on the cob, you could even do it with corn on the cob.
Bacon wrapped corn on the cob. That
That is
sounds
crazy.
a little pretty crazy for me, but if Jill suggested, I'm Bill. I'm down also.
Okay, yeah, so just put that on the menu for Bill and Jill.
Yes, Bill and Jill went up the hill and wrapped some corn and cob and bacon.
And it was lovely.
And it was great. Yes.